What's good, everybody? My name is CarlettaElston, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the misconceptions and contradictions of society when it comes to spirituality. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because on my spiritual journey, I've come across a lot of different information. There's a plethora of information out here, from social media to the internet to books to YouTube. There's so many different opinions on, what the truth is, and it can become overwhelming, and it can also become confusing depending on how much you may allow this information to consume your mind. Okay. It also can become discouraging, because you also want to just get down to the bottom of things. You want to figure out what's right. What is the truth? And am I going about things correctly? Am I on the right path? Am I doing what's best for me? Okay. And what I've come to realize is that there is really no right. There is really only levels of consciousness, perspective, and self-awareness. Okay. And first off, let me just say I will be reading from my notes here, just in case you're wondering why I'm looking down. That is the reason why. But what was right to you 10 years ago may not be right to you right now. Okay? You may view it as wrong today, and vice versa. What was wrong to you back then may be viewed to you in a different way now. And one thing that is true is that the tons of religions and opinions out here have successfully created a society of division, judgment, hatred, and hypocrisy. Because instead of searching for the truth within, many of us can get caught up in the trap of whose truth is truer, which isn't really productive at all. It just boosts up our ego, self-importance, and further separates us from one another. Ultimately, the journey of self-realization, discovery, and divine connection is a personal one. No one can determine what yours is supposed to look like but you, because no one can determine who you are but you. Even your parents or your guardians, they may have birthed you, but your knowledge and your self-opinion or construction is not limited to their own personal beliefs. You have to create your own outside of the confines of their personal beliefs at some point in your life. We have our own individual brains for a reason. And on my journey, what I've also come to realize is the key to unlocking your potential and expanding is having an open mind and being open to change, which also goes along with letting go of that construct of what's right and what's wrong. Here are some of the things that I've heard on my spiritual journey, okay, that I find contradictory. I've heard things like, you can't place ancestors on your altar because you don't know what energy they carry. Okay, you don't know what type of traumas they may have, whatever issues they had that went unresolved, and you don't want to pick up on that energy. You don't want to take that energy in. But what about the ones that you kept in contact with in your life? What about those that you knew on a personal level? Do you just disregard them? Do you not connect with them anymore? Do you just leave them out in the cold, Do they not count? I've heard that you can't walk around your house naked. Your ancestors don't want to see you that way. You need to place up barriers in separate rooms to keep it sacred. But what about when you were a baby? What about times they dropped by unannounced to check on you? What about the times before you even had an altar? I'm sure they've peered in on you and seen you naked before. Then there's the fact that they have elevated and are on new dimensions. So they have their new perception now. So they don't even have that brain to view you or judge you the way they could as if they were in human form. I've heard stuff like some people curse in front of their ancestors and at their deities. And that would be considered disrespectful to some people, but just a conversation to others. Do you kind of, hold back your own personal instincts and treat them, kind of fake? Do you not continue to be who you are even without having an altar? Do you operate in the same way that you would if you were talking to one of your friends? I've heard that magic is the work of the devil. But what about Moses? He used a snake and turned it into a staff, part of the Red Sea. Isn't that magic? Didn't Jesus turn water into wine and walk on water? Wouldn't that make him a magician? I've heard snakes are evil because of the story of Adam and Eve. But again, Moses used a snake and created something great and helped people. So wouldn't it symbolize a transformation? I've heard people say that tarot cards are evil, that you're working with the devil, you're conjuring up negative spirits and entities. But what about spades and other card games like Uno? What about the casino? When you go to that machine and you trying to gain something, you're putting in energy, you're getting an exchange, you're trying to conjure up an form of substance, an exchange. Wouldn't that be working with an entity or a spirit or working with a demon in a sense? That could be considered in that way as well. I've heard that you have to get your deities activated first before putting them on your altar by a priest or a priestess. But what about those people that can't afford to connect with a priest or a priestess or may not have the funds? Do they just remain on their same level and they don't advance anywhere? They just stay where they're at? I've heard you have to be initiated to work with deities at all. But what about the first initiate that ever existed? How did they get initiated? Who initiated them? It's a paradox, a catch-22, which brings me to my main point. They had to do it themselves. Everything is energy and everything is perspective. The way to true clarity and accuracy is through spirit directly and your own inner guidance. What worked for someone else may not work for you. And just because they got certain results does not mean that yours will be the same. Lastly, when in doubt, check in with your own heart. Because Spirit knows our heart. Spirit knows our heart, and that is the most important part of us. Our heart, our intuition. These are the parts that will never misguide us or mislead us. And it's important that we also remember that everything happens in divine timing. We may want to manifest certain things into our lives or go through certain doors, but we might not be at that point where we're ready. And the divine will only open those doors in the event when we are. So that's something to keep in mind as well on our spiritual journey, to remain patient, with ourselves and with the divine, because it can be, easy to get caught up in trying to manifest things and be all in the law of attraction and stuff that we actually forget what's important about our spiritual journey, which is connecting and really mastering ourselves. And that takes time. And it takes a lot of focus, and it takes a lot of trust and releasing things like the misconceptions and contradictions in society and others' opinions. So I hope that this resonated with somebody today. I hope that this brought some type of clarity. I just felt like it was necessary I got this out there, because I know that if I'm experiencing these things, that there's somebody out there that's going through them as well. And as I said, yeah, just go with the flow and do what feels best to you, okay? Because if you allow yourself to be consumed by all this information out here, you won't know which way is up, because you'll be so confused and conflicted inside that you don't know which way to go anymore. And the way to eliminate that is through yourself and through your own inner guidance. And lastly, I just wanted to pull a card from the Power Thought by Louise Hay deck and get an affirmation for us on our spiritual journey. You know, what is important for us to remember the most of all at this point right now? Spirit, can I get a card of affirmation? Okay. Well, I got two cards that just popped out on me. And it says, I am at peace with my sexuality. I rejoice in my sexuality and in my own body. My body is perfect for me in this lifetime. I embrace myself with love and compassion. And the last one is, I release all criticism. I only give out that which I wish to receive in return. My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every moment. Yeah, so it's all about acceptance at the end of the day. Accepting ourselves, accepting our truth, and creating our truth. And standing by what we believe in and who we are. So, yeah, I hope that this resonated with someone out there. I thank you guys for your time, and peace until next time.